In this video, we will further discuss the first fallacy, which is demography is a good predictor of consumer behavior. The results reviewed in the prior video clearly show that membership in a single demographically defined target audience cannot be used to predict consumer behavior. The prior analysis, however, did not tell us whether consumer behavior could be predicted on the basis of multiple demographic variables. To answer this question, 22 demographic variables, including age, sex, household income, race, education, census region, presence of children, household size, as well as several others, were used in a stepwise multiple regression procedure to predict consumption rates in each of 10 product categories. The results of this analysis clearly demonstrated that demographic variables, even when they are used in combination, are extremely poor predictors of consumer behavior. Specifically, on average, across the 10 product categories analyzed, the multiple correlation coefficient was only 0.1467, and the average amount of variance was only 2.4%. Moreover, the inability of multiple demographic variables to predict consumer behavior was seen across all 10 product categories, as evidenced by the fact that for each category, explained variance never even reached 6%. Given that selecting media vehicles on the basis of demography is deeply flawed, the natural question to ask is, why is this approach so widely used? In part, the reason can be traced to the fact that both television and radio are almost universally bought using this approach. This is because the leading suppliers of broadcast information only report their data with respect to key demographically defined target groups. Although the above reason helps explain why television and radio vehicles are selecting using demography, it does not explain why this approach is used to select print, that is, both magazines and newspapers, and why the leading sources of broadcast data do not collect and report consumer measures and tie these measures to media behavior. There are at least two possible reasons why print vehicles are often selected on their basis of their efficiency of reaching a demographically defined target, even though there are multiple sources, including MRI, Simmons, Scarborough, and several others, which enable print vehicles to be selected on a behavioral basis. The first reason is for the purpose of consistency. Since television and radio, which are usually the predominant components of a marketing mix, are selecting using demography, all media are then selected based on this approach. A second possible reason is that most media specialists are not aware of how poorly demography predicts consumer behavior and the potential cost inefficiencies that can result from using a demographic target, especially one that ignores the user and volume contribution of non-target members. The question still remains, however, as to why the leading suppliers of broadcast data do not collect and report consumer behavior measures and tie these measures to media behavior. The reason probably stems from the fact that such measures are costly to collect and that compared to magazines and newspapers, television and radio programs are subject to more marketplace vagaries, including cancellations, time slot changes, preemptions, format changes, and introduction of competing programs. Given these vagaries, much of the costly consumer information that is collected will be either useless, out of date, and are of questionable validity at the time the broadcast data were released.